Hey, how's it going? Thank you once again, those of you who are joining me. Uh, Appreciate those of you who are taking the time to watch this video and any of the other videos I've recorded on this channel. If you're a living, breathing human being, it's for you. Intended to either provoke some thoughts or inspire you, um, maybe bring some things up that you hadn't previously thought of, something that is helpful, something that is useful. And again, at whatever capacity you decide that you want to take from anything I'm saying here on this channel, please feel free to do so. Again, thank you for watching. This is I consider this, I consider this something to be not only important for myself, because it just gives me the opportunity to kind of share some things that I've learned, but if there's somebody else I can help or somebody else I can provide some insight to, that's what this is intended for. And so, again, at whatever level, however much you decide to take or gain from anything that I'm talking about in these videos, it's completely up to you. But I just want you to know that you are welcome to do so. And so, really quick, the name of this channel is Living to Learn. And I believe that it's very important for us to be lifelong learners. It just opens up so many more possibilities, gives us so many more opportunities to expand our, frame of mind, help us cultivate a healthy, outlook and worldview. And as I mentioned before, I've taken a great liking to a book that was written quite a few years ago. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, written by Stephen Covey. And it's a book that I have really gained from and has really helped me in my own journey through personal development. Again, coming from a faith background, coming from a spiritual background, somebody who does have a faith, somebody who does believe, and just see this as something important, right? It's important to know that what we see in front of us is the the correct understanding of what it should be. And what I mean by that is, how we see the world, how we see things in front of us. That can be the difference between getting from where we are at the moment to where we want to be, right? So if we have goals, if we have interests, if we have pursuits in life, whatever it is that we're looking onward toward, maybe you don't look forward to anything. Maybe you're just kind of like, well, this is life, this is how it is. Don't really expect much from it. Again, these are things that um, can help us through some of those things. Everybody comes from a different background, different place. And so what I want to talk about in this video is, and again, this is from the book, page 42. The title is A New Level of Thinking, right? And I want to talk about the difference between something that's specifically mentioned in the book, difference between the inside-out approach versus the outside-in approach. And so I'll read now from the book, page 42. It says, inside out means to start first with self. Okay? Inside out means to start first with self. This is about a new level of thinking. Okay? Or even more fundamentally, to start with the most inside part of self. So now we're going even deeper, right? To start with the most inside part of self, with your paradigms, your character, and your motives. Your paradigms, your character, and your motives. So the book describes your paradigm as basically, the roadmap in your mind that helps you navigate through life, right? Just to put it short and sweet. Your character, what you're made of, right? The qualities that you're made of, who you really are, and your motives. Motives being the reasoning behind why you do what you do, right? In any case, whether seen or unseen. Okay. So the book's challenging us to start with the most inside part of ourselves, to go to our paradigms, to our character, and our motives, right? So beginning there. So that's why it's called an inside out approach. Okay. So it's addressing who we are as a person, right? So who I am as a person. And again, to read from the book, page 43, it says, if you want to have a happy marriage, be the kind of person who generates positive energy and sidesteps negative energy rather than empowering it. Okay, so these are practical applications of this inside out approach. If you want to have a more pleasant, cooperative teenager, be a more understanding, empathic, consistent, loving parent. Now, if you're not a parent of a teenager, which I'm not myself, you can pretty much apply this to any relationship that you want to see improve, right? So it could be with your teenager, it could be with your significant other, it could be with a relative, right? If you want to have a more pleasant, cooperative, interaction with that individual, the advice is to be a more understanding, empathic, consistent, loving person. Okay. If you want to have more freedom, more latitude in your job, be a more responsible, a more helpful, a more contributing employee. Right. And again, that can be applied either way. If you don't have a traditional job, take what applies and make it applicable to your situation. If you want to be trusted, be trustworthy. If you want the secondary greatness of recognized talent, focus first on primary greatness of character. Now, I like that part because it's the secondary greatness of recognized talent. So basically what everybody else sees, right? That finished product, what you're recognized for, what you're known for, doing well, whatever that perceived value is of whatever it is you bring to the table, whatever it is you bring to that situation. And the book is saying that's secondary compared to the primary greatness or that first greatness of character, right? So again, this is the inside out approach. What this is implying as well is, you're not just, faking your way through it, right? Because there's a lot of people, ourselves as well, myself, at some point in time, if not, maybe I'm still guilty of it from time to time. We can kind of put on a front, just kind of, express or use certain words, certain phrases, kind of talk the talk. And, it might appear that, we've got that primary greatness of character. It might appear that, our paradigms and our character and our motives are constantly being addressed, that we're really working on ourselves from the inside out. But a lot of times it might be a facade, right? Because let's be honest, what we're to develop a new level of thinking it's very difficult. Okay. It's not impossible, but it is very, very hard. Why? Because we're all wired a certain way. We've all become accustomed to doing things a certain way. Now, those things might not be healthy. Okay. They might not be the best thing for us, but whatever it might be, that's what we know. Okay. Again, going back to our paradigm, our roadmap, how we navigate through this life, how we navigate these situations, how we draw conclusions. All those things have been influenced since we were, as we grew up. There's a ton of things that are involved in that, right? So to rise to a new level of thinking, and especially that inside out approach, right? Working on the inside, working on the real me, that most inside part of myself, is difficult. It's a lot easier to just, say, you know what, I think it's easier for me to just kind of play the part, make everybody just kind of think like, oh, they're fine, or, kind of talk the talk a little bit, whatever that might be. Really not having to address my inner self, my real self, right? Because that can be tough. There's a lot of things there. There's a lot of honesty that has to be had between ourselves, and sometimes we want to be in denial. And then again, we have to look at the opposite of the inside out approach, which is the outside in approach. Okay. Now, the outside in approach just to give you an idea, again, this is back on page 43. Okay. Here's what he's sharing. What I have seen result from the outside in paradigm. Okay. That idea of, hey, I don't need to work on the inside out. I need to work on the outside in. Basically saying there's things there's things outside of me, outside of my control, that if I could fix those things or change those things, then I would be better. Right? And he says, I've seen the result from the outside in paradigm. Unhappy people who feel victimized and immobilized, who focus on the weaknesses of other people and the circumstances they feel are responsible for their own stagnant situation. So that's the choice. That's the choice. Is it other people? Is it that other person's fault? You know, if you're in a relationship, is it your significant other? Is it their fault? Is it because they're this, and that? That's why the relationship's not working? Or, you know what, if my boss was just, a little bit more understanding, then, I would be a much more productive worker. Or, if that person would just, talk to me first, then I could be friendly with them, or whatever it is. You get the idea of what I'm saying. That outside in approach, saying there's something out there, whether being done by someone or happening outside of me, that if it was just a change, or if I could just fix it, or if they would just stop doing that, then I would be a better person. Essentially, that's what we're saying when we're talking about the outside in approach. So again, going back to what we're talking about, a new level of thinking, inside out versus outside in. Inside out approach means you're saying, hey, I got to address me first, and not just me, but the real me. I gotta address my paradigms. I gotta ask myself, why do I think this way? Why do I draw conclusions like this? Why is this the way my mind works? Why do I see things the way I see them? I got to address my character. Who am I? Who am I really? What am I made of? What are my qualities? And if there's qualities there that I'm not fond of, what can I do about that? Motives. I got to check my motives, whether seen or unseen. What are my motives? Am I operating out of fear? Am I operating out of anger? Am I operating out of vengeance? Am I operating out of guilt? What are my motives? Am I doing this because I want to be the best person I can so that it benefits those around me? That's hard to do. It's easier to just blame other things or other people for my situation. Especially if it's a bad situation. Right? I mean, it's a little bit easier to take credit when things are going well, right? But if things are going bad, I mean, it's tempting. It's tempting to just say, well, it's because of this, it's because of that. And if that was different, then I'd be different. And this is where we have to decide if we want to rise to a new level of thinking or not. Right? This is where we have to decide, is this something that, are we going to continue to do things that way? Sorry. Are we going to, just sit back and say, hey, once that thing changes, or once those circumstances change outside of me, things will be better? Or are we going to work on ourselves? Now, I want to share a quote. I went to a conference years ago. Wasn't married, still single, trying to figure things out. And this conference in particular was just for men. So I was there with some guys that I knew, and we're listening to this guy speak. And he was actually a friend of mine that I knew from before. And he said something that stuck with me. And again, I'm quoting this the way it was said, or paraphrasing it the way it was said. And it was a men's conference, but if you're a woman, or if you don't identify, or whatever gender you identify with, however you would define yourself, insert that there, okay? Because this is for you as well. But basically said, becoming a man has nothing to do with your age. You become a man when you become responsible. And that stuck with me. He said, becoming a man has nothing to do with your age. So if you're a male and you hit 18, that doesn't mean you're a man. You're an adult, but you don't become a man or you don't become a grown-up until you're responsible. That's when that actually happens. And I relate that to the inside-out approach, because that's exactly what we're doing when we take that approach and that new level of thinking. Is we're saying, listen, everything that I want to be different, everything that's not happening in my situation, whether I'm not satisfied or whether I want more or whether I just feel stuck, the first thing I got to do, the very first thing I can do, I must do, is I must address myself. I have to start with me first. There is no other way around it. I can't reach a higher level of thinking. I can't reach a higher level of maturity without taking responsibility. And so I challenge you, as I challenge myself, and this is an ongoing challenge, to take that inside out approach. Because that outside in approach, it's just going to keep us going in circles. Because we're always going to find something to blame. We're always going to find somebody to lay the excuse on, some circumstance. And I know some of us have gone through very traumatic things. I know some of us have been burned. We've been done dirty by people. We've been backstabbed. I understand that. And I'm not taking away anything from those situations. I have a lot of empathy for those things. I feel for you. Okay? I understand. Is life unfair? Absolutely. No matter how positive you want to be, no matter how responsible you want to be, there's that level of unfairness. It's just there. It's just an element. It's like the sky being blue. There's just nothing we can do about it. It's just going to be that way. So I'm not trying to be insensitive to those things. But at the end of the day, how is it going to help us by blaming our situation on something that happened, on some other person or some other circumstance that occurred, out of our control, wasn't warranted, wasn't deserved? And we can say that all day long. But at some point, what point do we get to where we say, you know what? I understand that. Let me put that where it belongs, in its place. It happened. I don't have to deny it. I don't have to ignore it. But if I want to get past the situation, if I want to get into a place that's different than the one I'm in now, I've got to look at myself. I've got to look at my paradigms. I've got to look at my character. I've got to look at my motives. Those are the things that I can control. Those are the things that I can work on. That's the new level of thinking. And again, to use another quote that I love, to learn, unlearn, and relearn. That's responsibility. Anyway, I hope this has helped. Any suggestions, any questions, any future topics that you'd like me to address, if there's anything in particular that stuck out to you that you didn't know, if there's anything that you want clarity on, feel free to comment. Again, like, share, subscribe if this has been beneficial to you and if you've enjoyed these videos. I enjoy making them, and so I'm hoping I'm helping some people out. And I'll see you next week.